be on your economic team and why? If you're not ready to reveal their names, we want to know at least the profiles of these individuals.
Salamat po at napaganda ng tanong na ito. Kailangan po talaga natin na unang-una, may napili na po ako para dyan sa finance, pero hindi ko lang po babanggitin sa inyo. Pero kailangan po talaga natin na nakapokus po tayo, nakasintro po tayo doon sa tinatawag nating revenue income ng ating gobyerno. Kasi gumagastos tayo taon-taon eh. Ang problema po talaga, yung source, yung revenue income natin, yung source of income ng ating gobyerno, napapabayaan. Lagi po tayo nakatutok doon sa expenditure yearly. Mali po, dapat nakatutok tayo doon sa income ng ating gobyerno dahil para may magagastusin tayo taon-taon. Para tayong nagmamanis ng isang pamamahay ba na pag gumagastos ng 50,000, dapat ang bansa natin hindi lamang kumikita ng less than 50,000 kundi more than that para maka-survive tayo. At para lumago ang ating ekonomiya, kailangan focus tayo doon sa revenue ng ating gobyerno. Yung tax revenue income, nandyan yung non-tax revenue income. So, doon po tayo nakatutok sa tax revenue income. Wala po tayo doon sa non-tax revenue because grabing korupsyon. Ang naiambag na lang po ng non-tax revenue income ay nasa more or less 6% na lamang po sa income ng ating gobyerno taon-taon. Kaya po masakit po talaga na ang ating gobyerno nangungutang palagi taon-taon dahil mas maliit ang kinikita kaysa ginagastos. Bayan, gumising tayo, gumising tayo.
Mayor
Salamat
Isko, Yorme, who will be on your economic team?
Well, we will hire somebody who is very good in that field of undertaking. But what matter most is the people. Mga kababayan, ang unang-una kong gagawin ay iparamdam sa inyo na may gobyerno kayong masasandalan sa hirap ng buhay. Kung saan kaya, kung bakit pinopropose ko 5 months ago nung kausap ko yung mga farmers sa Tarlac, fishers folks sa Zambales, sinabi ko, I'll cut into half the oil tax. No? Lahat ng uri ng tax sa crudo, at nakita nyo yung hirap ng buhay ngayon, patas ang crudo, and tax cuts, so lahat ng tax sa kuryente. So immediately mararamdaman ito ng tao. Then second, the bigger picture of this is that we will be more competitive, mga kababayan, sa ating mga neighboring countries because we need to raise our FDIs, the foreign direct investment. So itong mga bagay na ito ay makatutulong para tayo unti-unting gumana, lumakbay, umayos at gumaang at tumaas ang antas natin pamumuhay. Pangatlo, higit sa lahat, we'll go back to PPP. We will involve private sectors in government programs and projects so that we can pursue and continue the build of our country.
Automation, no operation. Para walang komisyon. Isa na yan. At kinakailangan talaga dito, yung leadership at saka political will. Ang sabihin, magkasama yan. Dahil, ang gusto ko, bawat ninanakaw nila, yung mga magnanakaw dyan, makita sa kulungan. Kaya dumadami yung mga nagnanakaw dahil walang nakukulong. Imposible na mabawasan yung magnanakaw kung wala lamang nakukulong. Pero kung nagnakaw, ipinakulong ka agad, tapos nagnakaw, ipinakulong ka agad, wala na hangad pa na magnakaw o maglakas loob na magnakaw. Yan ang problema sa ating bansa na matagal na nating sinisigaw at gustong masolusyonan. Ang sama ng loob ko pag nakakita ako ng mga tao na naghihirap at nagugutom, mga pamilyang walang opportunity. Ang sinisisi ko palagi yung mga kawatan dyan sa gobyerno. Subukan lang nila ako ng 6 na taon. Makikita nila na yung mega prison mapupuno yun. Yung ipapagawa kong mega prison mapupuno para sa kanilang lahat. Dahil tama na ang paghihirap ng sabayan ng Pilipino. Tama na yung paghihirap ng aking mga kasama kung saan ako nanggaling.
Sistema po o tao? Para sa inyo, kombinasyon?
Pareho po. Pareho.
Unang-una po, nagpapasalamat ako sa Panginoon sa ibinigay na pagkakataon na ito. At bayan, bakit si Manny Pacquiao? Pagkahirapan ang pinag-usapan, sinasabi ko palagi, hindi po ito konsepto kay Manny Pacquiao. Ito po ay dinanas ko. Dinanas kong matulog sa kalye at magutom. Tubig lang inumin ko. Bayan, sinubukan na natin ang diploma ng Harvard, Boston, Georgetown, o Oxford. Sinubukan na natin. Hiling ko sa inyong lahat, subukan naman natin ang University of Makati and Philippine Christian University.
of Makati and Philippine Christian University. Makita
Ninyo kung paano ko ipakulong lahat ng mga kawatan dyan at paano ko paunlarin at bigyan ng opportunity ang bawat Pilipino, lalong-lalo na ang mga pamilya na walang sariling tahanan at hanap buhay. Maraming salamat. Our foreign policy is the extension of our domestic policy. And in our foreign policy, we have 3 pillars. First, OFW's welfare, protektahan natin. Nandiyan naman po yung Department of Migrant Workers. And then yung ipinasa nating batas na OFW Handbook. Second, yung independent foreign policy. We will be a friend to all nations and America's best friend. And also, third, we will not allow ourselves to be bullied by other country and not also even in our Square Enix land will be giving up to them, and we will fight because we are Filipino, and also our Filipino. And third, I mean, that's third. That's it na po.
Umilit pa yan. Okay,
Clear to us what is the advantage to the Philippines. What the professor just mentioned was she spoke about the great powers trying to carve out spheres of influence. I reject that model that I believe no longer applies in the geopolitics of the modern world. The old Cold War thinking. We have to ply our own way. And so it really would depend on what is inside, or what those agreements say that the Philippines what will be doing and what those other partners of ours will be doing for the Philippines. And once again, because we shouldn't think of the old Cold War system, we should always think in terms of the fine line that the Philippines has to tread in all our foreign policy decisions.
but if Mr. Marcos, if you reject the concept of spheres of influence, does that mean you're going to scuttle the Mutual Defense Treaty when you become President of the Republic?
By no means.
Linked to
By
the
no
United
means.
States of America as a defense ally.
No, by no means. The relationship with the United States, our special relationship with the United States, is not something that we can treat, be cavalier about. It is a very important one. And it has stood us in good stead for over 100 years. And that, I think, will never disappear from the Philippine psyche, the idea and the memory of what the United States did for us and fought with us in the last war. And so that is a specific part of our foreign policy. But then, as we approach, we know that we are a hot spot right now. The West Philippine Sea is a hot spot in geopolitics right now. And that is why we still have to find our own line in terms of all of these arrangements. Except the one simple principle is that we will not cede 1 square inch of the Philippines to any country.
Karen, do I have time for one more follow-up with Mr. Marcos?
Yes, Professor Carlos.
Yeah. Okay, if that is the stance that you have taken, Mr. Marcos, suppose you have a situation where China is trying to, take us in, embrace us within its sphere of influence. How would you react as our chief architect of our foreign policy?
Once again, in terms of specifically to China, the correct approach still seems to be one of engagement. And no matter what the superpowers are trying to do, we have to work in the interest of the Philippines, and we cannot allow ourselves to be part of the foreign policy of any other country. And we have to have our own foreign policy. So again, whatever the superpowers do, we as a highly strategic geographic, are having a highly strategic geographical location in the world, really have to walk that very, very fine line between these great powers who, I always say, these are great powers, we are in between. If they sneeze at the same time, we disappear from the map. And that is something that we always have to keep in mind.
I have a sense that this will be the last time I shall interact with you in a venue like this. So let me introduce something which I have tested in my class on elites in politics. And this involves moving into an area called predicting leadership decision making. So I hope you don't mind if I give you 3 short questions, but they are related to each other. And it will give our people a chance to know you in terms of your leadership style. The first question is, do you think that you're basically an optimist rather than a pessimist? Number 2, do you think you are basically a high-risk taker rather than a low-risk taker? You'll notice the 2 are related. And the third question is, do you think you are Machiavellian?
Well, the first question is if I'm an optimist or a pessimist. I'm essentially an optimist. And the reason I'm essentially an optimist, because especially when we talk about the country, we are optimists. I am optimistic because our biggest asset is the Filipino people, and I try to be very objective about it, ma'am. I have traveled all over the world. I have not met a better people than Filipinos in every possible. Am I a risk taker or not? When it comes to national issues, I tend towards the conservative only because a mistake will cost so much suffering to so many people. In other words, you have to be very careful with the decisions you make. And it's not something that you do offhand. You think about it very hard. You talk to as many people as you can. And you make absolutely certain that you have done everything that you can possibly do to make whatever your plan is to make it work. Am I Machiavellian? Well, I've studied him quite thoroughly. And I know very many Machiavellians in my life. But
Is it Machiavelli in terms of taking every means to produce an end, not the other Machiavellian, the bad Machiavellian?
Well, certainly, we have to be everything that is going to help whatever it is that you are hoping to achieve. And on a national scale, that means you have to understand very well what the situation is on the ground. Ganito kasi sitwasyon ng mga tao, ito na ngayon sila. Nasa gitna pa ng pandemya, walang trabaho yung mga yan. Umaasa pa rin yan sa tupad, sa IX, etc. O paano tayo lalabas niyan? Where will what are the other countries doing? Kailangan maging maingat So I suppose in the same sense, as you say that these questions were related, it's a way of being careful and being very, very knowledgeable about what are the things that have to come into play so that you will achieve success, whatever that success, however you define that success. So in that sense, yes, ma'am, I am a Machiavellian.
Yeah, thank you. In future, if you have time, please come to the university and I will discuss with you. It's called the operational code construct. Thank you very much.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Okay. So sorry, I know we were getting requests for extension, but we want to be strict about keeping it to 1 hour for all of the presidential candidates. So, Senator Marcos, you have the floor for your closing remarks.
Well, first of all, I thank again our panelists and SMNI for this opportunity to speak on the many issues that have yet to be explored. The format as well, I think, is quite constructive. So thank you to SMNI for that. Thank you to our panelists here. I hope to continue to lay out what programs that form a part of the platform, the planks of the platform, for the possibility for the next administration, for the possibilities for the next administration. And that's why such opportunities such as this are very, very important. And I hope that we have been able to impart some of the ideas that I am examining and trying to put together to bring to the next administration should I be elected to the presidency. So we hope that we continue with this discussion. I hope that people come and think about it. And if they have any ideas, please come and tell us because we need to hear from everyone. We need everyone. That is the cry of the unity team, is that we cannot say that anyone is not needed. Everyone is needed in this effort that we are trying to do to get through the pandemic, to recover our economy from the problems that the pandemic has brought, and to position the Philippines to face the new world order and what will happen in the next few years. So thank you all very much, and thank you for the opportunity. Magandang gabi po sa inyo.